like they say nothing good ever lasts. Well, go on now and kiss it goodbye, but hold on to your lover, 'cause your heart's bound to die. Go on now and say goodbye to our town, to our town. Can you see the sun setting down on our town, on our town? Good night.
When I first saw Mike, I was like, I'm gonna know that guy for some reason. And that was, I guess, we're still working on all that, aren't we?
Yeah.
You sing that part, just in case I don't get it.
Yeah, it's 20,000 years.
Yeah. I called you and came up with something I needed to ask you about.
You wanted mandolin lessons.
Was that just a ruse?
Yeah. I don't play a mandolin.
I don't think we ever
Still
got the
haven't
mandolin out of the
gotten
box. Yeah, it stayed in the box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always gain little bits of wisdom whenever I'm hanging out with Mike and Katie, and they probably more than what they know that they're giving me, I suppose.
A remarkable thing that I see about Mike is his ability to focus, and that's what makes him a really good producer, I think. It's taking a project from the beginning to the end without blinking, you know.
We were very much etiquette oriented, weren't we?
Oh, yeah.
It's very romantic.
The courtship of porcupines.
A big transition happened, and there we were, and
Then suddenly
And
Katie
then
was living with me.
I-
We weren't dating at the time,
but
we
started
started that night.
dating.
when she moved in.
Yeah,
And that's when we got together, when she
Yeah.
moved in.
it was good.
And then
I
we
just started playing with you
together all the
at your
time.
gigs and stuff, and
Yeah, and
then we
then
started writing songs
Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
and then it formed Truck Stop Honeymoon.
well, actually, we wrote
a
an
song
album.
about our honeymoon because we got married right away.
And yep, so we went to the courthouse, waited in line, had two of our best friends as our witnesses, and then we went out for falafels.
Yeah, we treated our friends to a big Mediterranean lunch.
And then we went to our gig.
And then magically one day Mike appeared at my door when I lived over here in Lawrence, and he said, "Hi, this is my wife Katie and our daughter, and we're moving to Kansas." You know, they still tell the story of Katrina and being displaced by it, and I think that they are very much in the New Orleans. They're from New Orleans and will always be from New Orleans. But I think it's interesting that over the course of time, I really do believe that slowly they're going to identify with Kansas.
And then, unfortunately, they had, Katrina destroyed their lives in New Orleans and relocated them to Kansas.
At the time, we'd done a bit of touring up in the Midwest, and we were on the road. We had a tour, and so we had about 2 months of work after the storm. So we didn't have immediate worries because we had income and we were traveling anyway. So we had this sort of delayed facing what had actually happened and the fact that we didn't have a home to go back to at that point. While we were on tour, a friend of ours from Kansas, a guy called Kirk Runstrom, was a lovely old campaigner of the sort of punk bluegrass thing. Kind of started it
He
here.
called us and said, "Why don't you all
Called us.
come up to Kansas?" Oh,
Sweet.
he was so sweet.
was so
He
sweet.
tricked out his basement for us and hung up these beautiful sheets of scarves to kind of collect all the brown recluses that were falling off the ceiling over the beds at night. But people donated
sweet.
all these beds and
Toys for the
clothes and
kids.
toys and everything we needed. It was,
So
and
we-
that's what made us feel that Kansas was like this amazing place full of people that would give the shirts off their backs, that made me trust settling here with our family. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, wow, these people are solid.
Kirk was in Wichita, and most of the people we knew in Kansas were in Wichita. And our friends
From Winfield.
from Winfield, from playing Winfield Bluegrass Festival and playing clubs. We just had these just beautiful
Awesome people, yeah.
Beautiful people.
I think me and some friends of mine were thinking, Wichita, how long is that going to last?
Wichita's a pretty good town. People are nice and all around. Wichita ain't a bad place to be, but it's Wichita that's killing me. I wake up every morning and here we are. Live most of my life in Wichita. I've been a lot of other places too. I like most of them better than I do.
So I mean, just such a huge culture shock to where we were living. And culture was just, and not the
There
people
were
we knew.
some
The
conservative
people
aspects.
that were
that
just oppressive
were,
to us.
yeah,
But basically,
kinda heavy.
the conservative, Christian, homophobic kind of politics of the place, we didn't realize was going to be quite as in your face. Not from the people we knew, but from the billboards and the
And
propaganda.
since we're a homosexual couple, it was important for us to find a place that would accept us for who and how we are. Right, honey? Oh, yeah.
No, I just when you move somewhere and it's just a contingency, and you weren't planning to move, and you weren't psychologically wanting to change that, and then it just happens, and then you just for a long time just living in this sort of like, well, we're just here because it works, and but it's not like.
Didn't
I mean,
choose it.
it's fine, but blah blah blah.
You didn't do it on purpose. It's
Yeah,
not
you
like
didn't
your
enjoy it.
conscious will driving
So-
you to the place. It's like
So
circumstantial.
it's taken a long time to suddenly realize, wow, it's been really a fantastically good experience, and a very creative one, and the people we've met and the creative work that's happened here has been really rich and really great. Beautiful musicians and artists, and just people, just neighbors, and it's very special.
Wichita's a pretty good town. People are nice and all around. Wichita ain't a bad place to be, but it's Wichita that's killing me. I said, Wichita, it's a pretty good town. People are nice and all around. Wichita ain't a bad place to be, but it's Wichita that's killing me. It's Wichita. Wichita. That's Wichita. Wichita. That's Wichita.
For my kids to wake up and go, what do you mean there's no Mardi Gras? I'm like, well, we're going to go get some. And so we just called some people up and said, you want to learn these tunes? We're going to at least walk down the street and shake something and have our own private Mardi Gras down the middle of the street just to represent, to hook into that. And then it's just grown. It's been amazing.
Mike loves it. He puts on lipstick and a dress and a funny wig, and he just shouts and stands on parking meters, and he's so able to just project.
You know, Mike and Katie brought Mardi Gras to Lawrence, Kansas, and it's they kind of wakened Lawrence up a little bit, I think.
Last year it felt like it really took, and that we could evaporate and it would still go. That was a really cool feeling. I had the flu last year for Mardi Gras, and I just hung out with my yambo, kind of cloaked because I didn't want to deal with it. And I looked around, and there was just people dancing and playing and doing it, and I was like, the spirit has arrived, you know. You build it, it will come. I believe that. The band practices are so fun at our house. Jam-packed with like 3 tubas, 4 banjos, a bunch of trumpets, trombones, clarinets, guitars, Andalusian nose flutes, various shaky eggs.
Yeah, you don't have to be a musician to come
drums.
to it.
We have amazing percussion.
It's
and
like chants and stuff.
just like
So that's a participatory thing. It's not
it
for
carries you if you just hook into it.
musicians.
And a lot of what happens in those practices is horn players learning how to play the different tunes and whatever. And I'll generally come in towards the end and just try to lay down some sort of solid rhythmic background for everybody to key off of. Because it goes from everybody sitting in the living room and drinking beer and hanging out and having a good time to being out on the street, walking, where all of a sudden, if Mike gets too far ahead of me, then there's a delay and I'm playing one thing and he's playing something else, and the people 10 rows back are playing something completely different, or we'll go into a store and it gets all off kilter, and it's just it's crazy. But my job really is to hang with Mike and play as good a rhythm as I can to what he's doing and try to keep everything together.
You want to know that turnaround? So the turnaround is E flat.
thing about Mike is that he's into making a good sounding record. And he not only, turns knobs and all that stuff, but he actually helps produce, and he's really involved in making a good record.
He can really take it and finish it, and that is really hard to do. Being a man who runs a small studio in his house, it's easy to start things, but to really, here it is, it's done. I'm never going to mix this again. I'm going to let go of it. Thank you very much. It's a real achievement every time.
Well, we're standing in the ruins of an ancient dwelling. You start crying and I start yelling. The lady from the tour company starts telling us everything will be okay. And would we like her to take our kids away? I say thank you, ma'am, but don't you worry. Pueblo people would have told the same story. People mess up, then they have to say sorry. You can read it in these ancient signs. People in love have always had hard times. People in love have always had hard times. People in love have always had hard times.
Thunderheads are gathering, rain is coming down.
So in their lifestyle, as parents, I admire greatly, but I'm not really there to see it all. But whenever I do see it, I see people following their passion and also being very attentive to their children and how they're being raised.
She has 4 children that everybody's taken care of, and she just has a plan and a schedule, and she sticks to it.
People in love have always had hard times. People in love have always had hard times. People in love have always had hard times.
We're accessible.
Yeah.
And the music is accessible. It's not so
And
inorganic that it doesn't even sound like someone made it.
Now we're loading up a van, we're slamming the doors. The kids are wondering how much more they gotta hear. They're scared. I say what for? It's just what mom and dad do. In 10 or 20 years, this is gonna be you.
It's made by hand and heart and soul, and there's no fake out stuff on it. And people can sing along, and it's singing about stuff that people can relate to or helps them have a laugh about something that's a little too heavy or, feel a little better about life because it's real.
Love have always had hard times.
It seemed like there was a lot of good in that.
It has been such a pleasure to work with Colin Mahoney through the years. And our band folks, so Honeymoon has added so much fun to that. We get to work in the Ninth Ward Picking Parlor with Mike as the producer, and we're the rhythm section, and gosh, do we have a good time. So, I'm blessed to have so many fine musicians around that want to do this with me.
I love 40 Watt Dreams. I think that she sounds like Emmy Lou or some kind of great country person. I think she wanted to play other instruments and to do her own band with her songs that she's writing and kind of branch out.
When I left my hometown, I should have burned it down. I should have poured the gas. I should have lit the match. Make sure no one was around. Watch it burn to the ground. The flame light up my face. The fire burns off the whole damn place. I should have burned that bridge. Rebel in my sacrilegious ways. Much sooner than I did. Oh, but I was just a kid. I threw the hand that fed me across the nose.
not do what she does. It's continuous. She's continuously working, promoting herself, or making music, writing songs, just constantly.
I haven't written a song in 15 years, and they write an album every time they, produce a child.
You don't segregate your artistic lifestyle with your family life. You bring your kids along on the road with you, and they get to experience all different sorts of situations and cultures.
Yes,
like, how did that, obviously...
It's too expensive to do it other ways.
We didn't, and we didn't, we never have lived around extended family.
We love our
so we
kids
never had
so
the
much. We want
built-in
to be with them.
babysitters, so they've always been with us.
And we want them with us, even if we had built-in babysitters.
Yeah.
We wouldn't leave them there, It's great. Like, for me, this is such a great adventure. And I think about my own childhood and how I used to sit in my little room and dream of traveling and playing music and seeing the world, and how would I ever do that, And then suddenly life just comes together and you're doing something like that, and you get to bring your children.
Katie and I have our little skill set and what we do, and our kids are around it, and the idea isn't that like, hey kids, this is what I want you to do. It's just the idea is that this is what we know how to do, and while you're with us, we're gonna be showing you some of this, and you're gonna be around it, and if it's something you never want to do, that's fine, but just like any other kind of education,
if you pay
don't
attention,
get to ignore it.
You'll be well equipped if you make that choice.
The thing of the kids just being isolated from what it is you do is, like if they were just plugged into watching TV or playing video games while we were. People have an anxiety to get bored. For instance, like we're working on a record recording the last 3 days, long days, pretty intense work, and our youngest is here
hanging
with us,
out, yeah.
and people who have this anxiety about, how do you keep the kids? I better get like some sort of video thing for the film that they watch, just so they're so plugged into that, they're not in the way, and we're not worried about them. And it's like, if you don't have that option, you just don't plug the kid in. Don't neutralize the kid. Let the kid learn and learn the boundaries.
Let them be part of the atmosphere of it.
Can't be real loud here. Can't do this one, so I'm going to do this while that's going on. And that I'm going to still be in the ambience of it all. I'm still going to be in the wood shop with a power tool that can take my hand off. But I'm not going to, I know.
Not to put your hand there because you weren't watching a movie while it was happening.
because you're not just being plugged in there watching a training video about how to use power tools. Yeah.
At the end of all these miles that we do, they have something to show for it too, instead of just like, when do I get to start mine? Because they play music. We've trained them, and they get on stage and have that feeling of like, oh my God, and then they get through it, and then they're like, yay, and they make tips, and that really encourages them.
Yeah.
But they've learned a ton just from, and learned about people and culture and interaction, and they're not in a little box of fear of thinking that people somewhere else are scary or something, and they're not intimidated by language barriers, and
or even just the thing,
they're fascinated, and they even recognize that in other people when they're like, they see that people are really limited by fear. Their kids recognize that, and that is a beautiful accomplishment. They feel at home in the world, and that is good stuff. That is good stuff.